All right, let's throw up that intro card, though, because this time I didn't forget it. And we've got Wulfric the Wanderer coming in to take on Tyrion of the High Elves. Well, not really. You know, those are just the people on the banners. But I guess we'll see. Wulfric is a very common pick. Tyrion, not quite as common. Intro card is off, and taking a look at the Norscan forces first, we've got Marauders. So 2 on the left flank. Got some Marauder Berserkers. Another 2 Marauders in the center. More Marauders. Another 2, and Marauder Berserkers. So it looks like we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Marauders, and 1, 2, 3 Marauder Berserkers. He's also going to have 2 Marauder Hunters with throwing axes, as well as some with javelins. The javelins have bonus versus large, but no armor piercing. The axes have no bonus versus large, but they have armor piercing. So bringing a bit of the best of both worlds, and they cost the same too. Going to have Fimir Warriors with great weapons, 2 of them by the looks of it, accompanying a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. Going to have what appears to be, what is that one called? Scroll of Power, Glittering Robe, Plague of Rust, Searing Doom with Metal Shifting. He's also going to have Wulfric the Wanderer in here, up on top of his Mammoth, and he's going to have Hunter of Champions, Fight or Die, Sea Fang, and Foe Seeker. I think that rounds out our Norscan forces, but let's do a quick pan round to make sure. And yes, it certainly does. Only thing I really noticed about this army so far that I'm not a huge fan of is the lack of any mobility, like Skin Wolves or Warhounds, Ice Wolves, anything like that. But going on to the High Elves, we have 4 Spearmen. I like the nice Manipular Tactics formation, this checkerboard formation. We have 4 white lines of trace behind them, and then we're going to have 5 Lothern Sea Guard holding up the rear. 2 of them facing forward, the other 3 facing back in preparation perhaps for some rear charges. Actually, I lied. They're all facing forward. So, aside from this very strong infantry force, we are going to have Teclis. And Teclis, you're going to get a new scorecard, yeah! Why? Because he's here. So we should throw him up on the scorecard. So there is a Teclis. Now, he's going to have the Potion of Shakroy, Regrowth, Net of a Mintok, nothing else. He's on foot. And honestly, I'm happy to see Teclis here. I think with this many missiles, 5 Lothern Sea Guard, it makes sense. And then up front, just to really harass the Norscan forces, we're going to be seeing 4 units of Valyrian Reaver Archers. So a lot of infantry from the Norscans, but a lot of infantry from the High Elves as well. And White Lines of Trace are no chumps. They'll be able to handle Marauders no problem. Marauder Berserkers, I'm curious to see how that pans out. Obviously, the Enrage mechanic that all Norscan infantry has is really, really beneficial, and we'll see if it comes into play here. And actually, yeah, so it's just the infantry that have it. Valyrian Reaver Archers, these ones are actually going to pull back into the rear, continue getting chased by the Norscan forces, and Norscans are wasting time. Don't bother peeling off Fimir Warriors to try and chase Valyrian Reaver Archers. They won't catch them, and that's what I was mentioning earlier. You know, Skin Wolves, Ice Wolves, Warhounds, anything like that could have really helped counter these Valyrian Reaver Archer skirmishers, but honestly, they're not doing too much damage anyways. The Fimir Warriors are quite heavily armored at 110, and these guys don't have the best armor piercing values, so I'm just going to look at it for fun. So 3 armor piercing missile damage. Not too great at all. And here comes Sea Fang, though. Will the High Elves dodge it? Oh my god, a perfect dodge from the High Elves, and taking barely any damage, just a clip on these Spearmen. First Sea Fang, a swing and a miss! Meanwhile, back here, Valyrian Archers have killed off these Marauders, and will probably start coming back to harass the rear of the Norscan forces now. Over here, Marauders just getting melted by withering fire from these Lothern Sea Guard. We'll see what happens now, as it does seem they're going to be turning their attention to Wulfric the Wanderer. But not a lot of mass here to do anything. But here comes a Net of a Mintok. And that's why Teclis is such a strong choice when you're going up against builds you want to snipe with Archer Fire. Because look at this. 5 Lothern Sea Guard opening fire all at once on top of Wulfric the Wanderer. Although, look at that. What a beautiful cast from the Metal Sorcerer onto Wulfric, adding 60 armor. He's at 130 armor, which is making him so resistant to the shots from the Lothran Seaguard, as they don't do a ton of armor-piercing value. But now that it's worn off, you can see that damage start laying in there again. I mean, 60 armor is significant stuff. And, oh my goodness, it's cast again. So he used the Power Scroll, and now Wulfric has just had 60 armor for so long. Coming over here, checking in these engagements, does look like Fimir Warriors and White Lines of Trace. Fimir Warriors aren't doing the best. That's a very good trade. They're going to win in the end, but it does look like the High Elf Infantry is doing well for itself overall. White Lines of Trace have dived in here to hold them in place. Throwing axes are actually decimating these Lothran Seaguard. But Wulfric the Wanderer is getting into a precarious position here. He's in a crossfire with a lot of units, but here comes Seafang, and it looks like it's going to go right through the center of all those units, doing some nice damage. Alright, Valyrian Aver Archers are back into the fray, and just more and more firepower being laid down. However, something we need to point out here is Lothran Seaguard, a lot of them taking quite a bit of damage. These two just hanging on by a thread. Other than that, we have this one that's still doing okay, this one's still doing okay, and this one's in combat with some Fimir Warriors, so probably not having the best time, but balance of power is in favor of the High Elf so far. Will Tank be able to pull this back into his favor, or will this overwhelming infantry from the High Elves take him out? And oh, a beautiful Searing Doom going down, doing a lot of damage to those Lothran Seaguard. Clearly the Norscan player here, Tank, recognizing his win conditions. He needs to get rid of this Archer Fire. But will it be too little too late? He's down to 1,000 HP, and he's routing. And there's a Lyrian Reavers on top of him. Lyrian Reavers are going to wisely pull around the Fimir Warriors, and that way they'll continue to chase down Wulfric the Wanderer. Will these Berserkers be able to save him? 571 health. Another net of a Mintok went down, this time just on top of the Fimir Warriors. And look, they're pinned in place, and they're stuck in a crossfire, getting shot by 4 units of Lothran Seaguard. And that may be the end of these Fimir Warriors. Like I say, they have good armor, but when you have 4 units of archers shooting into you, that just is a bad day for anyone. Here comes another Searing Doom, though, and look at this. It's going to crush these Lothran Seaguard. I think it's going to delete them completely. Ouch. Just a nasty little puddle where they used to be. Over here, yep, Wulfric the Wanderer, 438 HP. He's not coming back. There's nothing the Norskins have that they can send out there to save him. Once again, going back to Warhounds, Ice Wolves, and so forth. And now we're going to see the Fimir Warriors die. They did get in combat once that net wore off, and they were able to rout off some of these Lothran Seaguard, but not before the other two shot him to death. Taking a higher level view of the battlefield, I mean, there's certain pockets of the Norskins that are starting to come back together, but Wulfric did just die now. Lyrian River Archer is able to kill him off. Enough prods into the butt of that mammoth seemed to do the trick. But yeah, I mean, Searing Doom's doing a lot of good work, but other than that, I just don't see a lot of things working for the Norskins right now. However, where did Teclis go? I know he's alive because I saw a net go down from him, but where is he? I feel like I'm blind, and I'm going to watch a replay of this and recognize that he was right in front of me the whole time, but I have no idea where Teclis is. He hit him so well, even me, the caster, has no idea where he's gone. And here comes Searing Doom once again. Gonna devastate some of these High Elf Spearmen. But yeah, it just seems like it's gonna be too little too late from the Norskins, and the High Elves are just starting to run away with this battle. I'm really confused as to where Tyrion is. Did he get terror out and like route off the map or something right after he netted those guys in place, or am I just being a buffoon and not seeing him in plain sight? Nope, no clue where he is. I guess he's just not here anymore. But speaking of not being here anymore, looks like the Shaman Sorcerer, the linchpin of this Norscan army now that Wulfric Wolfric is dead. It's going to start wavering, routing, and we're going to see a HWL victory. And Mukip taking this series in a 2-1 fashion after being down 0-1. So, great game to him, and also great games to, excuse me, Tank. He is a wonderful player and a great performance today for sure. But Mukip with that high elf build there just really matched up well against the force he was faced with. And once again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I'll beat this dead horse all day long. You need some mobility in your armies. Mobility, for me, really isn't an option to not take. Unless you're relying on a force of ranged power so powerful to where you can just shoot them dead. But even then, it's always good to have something fast enough to chase a routing unit off the map, an important unit, or also just to harass the enemy skirmishers and backline, you know? So, great games to both players, but yeah, gotta say to Tank when he watches the replay, that would be my main point of feedback there is get something with some speed in this army, and it would, I think, do a lot better, especially with how many Lyrian Reaver archers you were dealing with.